Today is Thursday, April 10th, and my meat chick update, because when I originally posted about them, I believe it was on Monday. They have been doing very well on the heat plates. We just raised them again. My experience with meat chicks is that if you want them to take to the heat plate and understand what the heat plate does, you need to start them off on that right away. You can't start them on a heat lamp and then put them on a heat plate, because they don't understand that. Again, at least that's my experience, and these were shipped to my house, which is about 35 minutes from the school. So when I picked them up, it was after the end of a school day, and I brought them to my house. Thankfully, I had a heat plate at my house that I started them with, and then when I came here, we put them under the heat plates that we got through that Hatching the Future National FFA grant that we received last year. I should make a video on that because we carried that project out a year ago, but I feel like some people may be following me now that were not following me then. I sort of impulse purchased these chicks, but we are raising them for the FFA banquet. Eventually I came to that realization that this would be a perfect opportunity to use them and showcase what we do in the ag barn. So we will have these processed around 8 weeks and quartered, and then I have a parent of a student that will cook them up and we will serve them at the FFA banquet. Other things we have going on in here today, my bottle lambs are back. My female triplet that I pulled, I don't think I've really made a video about her, but long story short, she was 2.5 weeks when I pulled her from mom because mom wasn't feeding her enough, and with the temperatures getting colder in New York, I felt that the best option was to pull her from the mother and try to put her on the bottle. She did take to the bottle, but since Sunday, she has bloated twice. And this morning, had I been an hour later, she would not have made it. So I do have to find a smaller bottle so that less liquid is in there. She ate too much last night is what I'm guessing happened. And because she's older than the other bottle lambs and she was on mom, that kind of is screwing with her digestive system a little bit. So I'm going to try to find a little baby bottle to use for her, but how I treated that blow, I acted very quickly. I went down there, she was on her side, she was kicking, not good. She was buying, very uncomfortable. I scooped her up, I ran her up to the house, and I had vegetable oil and a syringe already out from when she bloated on Monday night. And I quickly stuck it in her mouth and she was swallowing still, so it worked. And I left her in the dog crate for about 40 minutes, and by the time I came back, she was feeling much better. And although she is 10 days older than these other two, you can see that she's scrawnier. She is smaller, I think, than these bottle lambs are that were born last week. So if you ever have a bottle lamb in that situation, typically, at least in my experience, the best course of action is to find either olive oil, vegetable oil, and a syringe and put it down their throat. Obviously, they need to be swallowing. If they're not swallowing, then they could aspirate on that, which is what I was concerned about her this morning because of how much pain she was in, but as it turned out, it actually worked. In other news, I had a student wanting sexed ducklings, female obviously, for egg laying, and I managed to find availability from a hatchery a couple of weeks ago. I bought some extras in case some of hers didn't make it, and now I am the proud owner of 6 ducklings because they all survived. I should have ordered them from Meyer Hatchery just because I get a little bit of a discount with them, but I didn't even think to order them because originally I was going to add them to my meat chick order, which I had to order from Myers Poultry in Pennsylvania. And I couldn't because they must ship from different hatcheries. So I had to place a separate order for the ducklings, but they also arrived very quickly within 24 hours of hatch, and they're all healthy and they have all survived. In addition, I did finally remember to bring in the mail for the FFA's breeding flock of quail at school. We have been hatching eggs, and what we found with the last couple of batches is that the hatch rate has been really low. And one thing that my vet science class typically does when we have eggs that don't hatch is they do some investigation. They typically will go outside with a garbage can and with the incubator and crack the eggs to see where those eggs died in incubation, so we can kind of pinpoint where it was that they were not surviving. With the last group that we hatched out, there were actually some deformities, and I believe the problem may have been that the family tree didn't really have a lot of branches. So when I went to my doctor's appointment on Friday, I managed to find a random male quail that is unrelated to these girls on my way home, and I picked it up, and here we are. So we will probably start doing some test hatches after break. Next week we have spring break off of school, and I have students that are going to come in and take care of the animals while we are on spring break, but they will collect the eggs and I will set them when we get back, pending hatch day, like making sure it doesn't fall during state convention. And I understand, so eggs, when they are fertilized, they can be fertile for up to 30 to 45 days in chickens. With quail, I think I read about 4 weeks, so around 30 days. So we may not have success with the first group that we set, but we have enough incubators that I'm just going to continually set all of the eggs that we get. So that's what's going on in our egg barn at school. We also are still looking to hire for my position, because if you missed that, I'm moving to a school closer to where I live, like 7 minutes from home. This school is 35 minutes from home. So if you see this facility behind me, the position that we are hiring for is mine, which is teaching in here pretty much full time. So if you know of a certified agriculture teacher that is looking to potentially relocate to Western New York, this might be a very good, solid opportunity. We have a competitive FFA chapter. We have endless administrative support. Funding isn't really a problem. This building was just completed a year ago in a state-funded capital project, and the opportunities here are really endless. So my program has catered to my interests, and if somebody steps into this program and has other interests, there is ability to do that. We're CTE endorsed. We have some articulation agreements in place already. And again, we may have some teams that will be very competitive at the state level that could potentially go to nationals.